Well, now, in 1961, Hattie Jacques scored yet another great comedy success when she starred in the film In the Doghouse.
Well, if you'll excuse me, I've got to see a man about a dog.
Oh, it's just through that door, then.
A bulldog.
Well, co-starring with you in that film was an actor, as you can see, who's made a number of successes with you. Carry On Nurse, Carry On Teacher, Carry On Constable.
And now it looks as though we're together in Carry On Hattie.
Yes, star of stage, radio, screen, television, Leslie Phillips. Well, as I've said, Leslie, you and Hattie have starred in quite a number of films. Which one did you enjoy the most?
Well, I've enjoyed all of them. I always enjoy working with Hattie, and I should think it goes for just about anybody in this business that's ever met her. She's a very popular girl. And I must admit that there was a time when I was a tiny bit jealous of her popularity.
Oh, why was this?
Well, we were making this film in the doghouse, and, I was playing opposite a chimpanzee, actually. Very pretty little thing, you know. I was rather keen to get on with her, but unfortunately she only had eyes for Hattie. They used to have coffee together, lunch together. I couldn't even see her in the evenings. Anyway, this went on. I was really so fed up about it, but unfortunately one day she was ill, but they decided rather than hold up shooting, they'd get an understudy for her.
And what happened?
I thought this would be my big chance, you know, wanted to get one over on Hattie. So the understudy turned up. She wasn't quite so pretty, but she took one look at me, I looked at her, and, well, I don't want to brag, Eamon, but it was a question of sort of love at first sight. She jumped into my arms, put her arms around me, looked at me, just a great big grin came across her face, and then she spat straight in my eye. The producer, Hugh Stewart, came over and said, "Leslie, you know, this chimpanzee is not only an actress, she's a critic."
So you just couldn't win, Leslie?
No, I don't think I'm going to win tonight either, because Rosie, in spite of a temperature of 102, is here.
All the way from Preston in Staffordshire. You see, there's your Rosie from your film.
You see what I mean?
This, I can see Rosie would be very happy to stay here all night, but I think you better persuade her to go. What, don't you think?
Please.
Thank you very much, Leslie Phillips. And thank you, Rosie. Now, over the years, Hattie Jacques, as you know, has established herself as a #1 favorite among television comedy actresses. But behind the scenes, Hattie Jacques was doing much more. For instance, in 1960, Hattie was asked to receive a cheque on behalf of the East London Spastic Society. And while talking to various members of that society, she was so touched by their concern and tireless work for spastic children that she became a member herself and has since been elected their president. But she's not just a celebrity figurehead. She takes a real active interest in the children herself.
I'll never forget how she came to see me one night about my little girl.
One of the members of the East London Spastic Society and your very good friend, Mrs. Alma Berry. Mrs. Berry, could you tell me what happened when Hattie called to see you about your little girl?
Well, I'd never met anyone famous like Hattie before, and I had the clothes horse in the room, but when she said, "I wouldn't put mine away if you came to my house," I knew we were going to be old friends.
Did you ever meet her again?
Oh, yes. She went to see my little girl in hospital and took her a lovely bracelet for her birthday.
But as you told us,
But this is only one of the many little kindnesses that Hattie does for us.
And does she make a good president of your society?
Well, when I tell you she's raised over £5,000 for the society, you can form your own opinion. We all feel that she's not only a wonderful president, she's a valuable and understanding friend as well.
Thank you, Mrs. Berry. Thank you. Now, we all know about Hattie Jacques, the actress. Tonight we've heard a little about Hattie the nurse, Hattie the president of the East London Spastic Society, but now it's my privilege to introduce to the world Hattie Jacques, the lyric writer. I want you to listen to a few bars of one of your songs, Hattie, and tell me if you know the name of the musician who wrote this song with you. Don't ask why That voice, you haven't met the owner of that voice since you saw him off to Canada in 1946, but back from Toronto for you tonight is Victor Brooker. Victor, did Hattie really write the words for that song?
Yes, we worked together on about 10 songs, and that was our best number. You see, I was a leader of a big jazz band, and Hattie was, and I was a fan of Hattie's when she was at the Players Theatre.
And wasn't Hattie a jazz enthusiast too?
Oh, yeah, she was the mascot for the band. She used to come and see us when we went off, she used to come and see us off when we went on tour. And one time when we were stuck for a place to live, she found a flat for us in the same house as hers. She was a great one for cleaning and decorating the place, but one time I think she went a little too far.
When was that? How was that?
Well, we were on tour, and she decided that that was a good time to repaint the bathroom. And but I came back earlier than expected, and I came home at 4 o'clock in the morning, terribly tired, and I was aware of the fact that there was paint smell around the place, but I didn't realize how thorough Hattie had been until it was too late. She had also painted the most important piece of furniture of the room.
Thank you, Victor Brooker. Well, whenever Hattie Jacques is around, comedy seems to follow. And I wonder if Hattie remembers the time when she and her husband took a well-earned holiday in France. Let me set the scene for you. The time was the spring of 1954. The place, the lounge of your hotel in Paris. Suddenly you hear a familiar voice.
Bonsoir, mademoiselle. A good idea, garçon.
Yes, of course, the voice of the one and only Max Bygrave. Well, Max, it must have been a great relief to you and a pleasure to have Hattie rushing to your assistance.
It's a good job to get in here. There's a fella with a striped jersey out there been stuffing caramels up my nose.
Yeah. Well, Hattie sprang to your rescue, did she?
In France, yeah. I was trying to check in at the hotel. I don't speak very good French, you see, and Hattie speaks very good French, and she came and helped me.
You were on holiday too, were you?
Yeah. Well, there was John, you know, Hattie's husband, and my wife, and the four of us, you see. We're very good husbands. We take our wives to Paris. I must tell you a story. This is absolutely true. It sounds like a joke, but it's true. And one night we'd been out, and we had a very good evening, do you remember? Mm-hmm. And then we went over to the left bank, and we finished up in a sort of a bistro, a very low joint, and there were girls with sort of slit skirts and long cigarette holders, you know.
This does sound like the build-up to a gag.
And all down the walls there were long, dirty cracks, and I couldn't read them. They were in French. And John and I, Hattie's husband and I, we had to go to the powder room, you see. And while we were in there, we heard a shriek of laughter, and we came back. There was Hattie and my wife, and they were laughing so much, tears were coming from their eyes, and it took about 10 minutes to settle down. Now, the story is this. While we were in the powder room, a couple of English tourists came in, you see, and they saw Hattie and my wife alone, and this Englishman walked up to Hattie and my wife, Blossom, and thought they were ladies of the joint, you see. Oh, manners. And this fella walked up to Hattie and said, "Oh, bonsoir, mademoiselle. Voulez-vous promenade avec moi ce soir?" And Hattie said, "Ah, monsieur, parlez anglais?" With a straight face, you know, the fella said, "Oh, oui." She said, "Well, go and take a running jump in the lake."
That was just the start of the evening, I imagine.
It was nearly the end of the evening. Well, I would like to say this about Hattie. You know, I know what it's like on this program. But, you know, the nice thing about Hattie, everybody knows about her wonderful sense of humor. For me, the thing I like about Hattie is her professionalism. When she's called for a job, she's on time, she does the job well, she gives her very best, and I think that's the greatest thing you can give to a professional, you know, when you do that sort of job. Hattie, I love you.
Yeah. Thank you, Max Bygrave. Thank you. Finally, Hattie, let me just repeat what we've made clear, that behind this public image there are many things, but particularly you're essentially a family girl. And in case you think we've been keeping you too long away from your family, let's remedy that at once. 4 generations of the Jacques family. Your brother Robin, your husband John, and your sons Robin and Kim. Not forgetting the one you heard growling, your dog Blades, your mother Mrs. Mary Jacques, and probably your biggest surprise of all, your 89-year-old grandmother, Mrs. Adelaide Thorne. This, Hattie Jacques, is your life.
If you missed it earlier, there's another chance to see our brand new drama Hattie here on BBC4 this evening at 5 to midnight. That's here after a double bill of Girls Who Do Comedy next with Dawn French.